what would you say is the biggest event that people knowing about black history? If you was to ask like 10 people, what is the one event that they would all know about that happened to black people?
Slavery.
Slavery, yeah? Okay. So slavery is a big thing that happened to our people, innit? Why do you think God let our people go into slavery? You think there's a reason for it?
To learn something? I don't know.
You think God was teaching us a lesson? Yeah? You think that was a lesson?
I don't know.
To learn about other people, yeah? Okay, okay. And slavery was a bad thing, innit? So if God's teaching us about slavery, it must be a punishment, innit? You think slavery was a punishment from God, or do you think?
Punishment from people.
From people, yeah. So you think God didn't have a reason for letting it happen to us?
Possible.
Right. So
never really linked it with God, so.
Yeah. So the Bible actually gives you a prophecy that explains why black people went into slavery. You get me? God tells us the reason why he did that to us. Because it was intentional. You get me? God sent us into slavery for a reason. You ever heard that?
No.
Alright, so that's what I want to show you about the Bible's perspective of this event in black history that we all know about, known as the transatlantic slave trade. The Bible actually gives you some information on that. So I'm going to give you the spiritual reason for it, yeah? So check this out. The Bible tells you...
Well read that.
Yeah, you can tell it. Praise the Most
By you,
High.
or if it can pass down, or...
Was it?
it
Oh, this
pass-
is
yeah?
mine, isn't it? This
Right,
was fresh when I
okay.
bought it maybe 4 years ago. Yeah, check this out, yeah, sis. So in the book of Deuteronomy, yeah, chapter 1 and verse 1, God says this: these be the words which Moses spake unto all Israel. So God is speaking to a people called Israel, yeah? Now Israel is a race of people, and the thing about Israel is that God told us this. Leviticus chapter 20 verse 26 says, and ye shall be unto me, and ye shall be holy unto me, for I the Lord am holy, and have severed you from other people that ye should be mine. So Israel is a people that God has said they're a holy people, and he separated them from other races so that Israel could belong to God. So out of every single race on the earth, God has his chosen people that he separated from everyone else, and they're called Israel. And what I'm going to show you today, sister, is that we black people, we are God's Israel. We are the descendants of the people that God is talking about. And here's what God said would happen to Israel, yeah? Check this out. So you heard about Moses, yeah? Yeah? And you know what Moses did for his people in Egypt? What did Moses do for his people? You don't know about Moses, brother? He said, let my people go, right? You ever hear that? He said, let my people go.
About that, yeah.
Yeah. Because his people had to be let go because they were what? They were doing what?
Slave?
They were slaves, isn't it? So Moses saved Israel because Israel were slaves in Africa. They were slaves in Egypt. So God sent Moses and said, look, my chosen people are slaves. You need to go free them, deliver them, yeah? But when God freed the Israelites, he did them a big favor. So God expected the Israelites to do something in return, yeah? So here's what Moses warned the Israelites. Deuteronomy 28 and 15, and it reads, but it shall come to pass, that means in the future, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God. So if the Israelites who got saved by God, now they don't want to listen to God, if they start to ignore God, yeah, to observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. So the Bible said, if the Israelites didn't keep the commandments, take it easy, Andrew, yeah? Alright, bless. Yo, so if the Israelites didn't keep the commandments, God said there'd be curses put on this chosen people, yeah? Now, the curses that were put on the Israelites are very important in understanding black history. So I'm going to read some of these curses to you, and I want you to tell me, in today's world, which people have gone through these curses. Which one race of people fulfills the prophecy of God's punishment on Israel? So verse 46 says, and they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever. So the Bible says the curses will be on the Israelites as a sign, and even on their kids as a sign forever. So if you want to identify who the Israelites are, the sign is whatever race is being punished this way by God, it's a sign that they're God's chosen people, and that because they didn't listen to God, he's currently punishing them. So check it, here's some of the curses. Verse 32 says, thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in thine hands. It says one of the punishments is your sons and daughters will be taken from you and given to another people, another race, and the Israelites will have no power to get their kids back. So can you think of in history a time where a whole race has another race take their kids from them?
It definitely
Happened in slavery. So what the Bible's showing you is what happened to us in slavery was a what from God?
Yes.
For not what?
Listen.
Exactly. And because we are God's, what did God call us?
Chosen people.
Chosen people. We were given the responsibility, bless King, we are given the responsibility of keeping God's commandments. He ain't just going to give you blessings for you to go off and be wicked. He expected us to do what he said. What he said, anyhow you don't do what I said, yeah, he tells us this. Deuteronomy chapter 8 and verse 5 says this, yeah. Thou shalt also consider in thine heart that as a man chasteneth his son, so the Lord thy God chasteneth thee. So can I just ask, is this your son behind you?
Yeah.
So when your son doesn't obey your commandments, yeah, what happens? You get chastened, you get punished, right? So and that's what's going to make him a better person, because anyhow he was bad and you do nothing, he's just going to get worse, you get me? So the Most High says in our minds, when we think about God, to understand the Creator here, he says that as a father disciplines their child when their child does wrong, so does God discipline his chosen people, Israel. Because not every single race is God's children. The Bible says that in Exodus chapter 4 and verse 22, when Moses went to Pharaoh, he said this, speaking for God, and thou shalt say unto Pharaoh, thus saith the Lord. So he's speaking for God. He says, this is what God said. Israel is my son, even my firstborn. So who is God's child? Israel. And we are Israel's sister. And that's the reason why when we do wrong, like as your parent punishes you, God punishes us. And one of the punishments was, our kids will be taken from us. And here's another one, yeah? Verse 43 says, the stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. So another punishment on the Israelites. How you know someone's an Israelite is, they're surrounded by strangers. The word stranger means foreigner, someone of another nationality. So it says the other nationalities that surround God's chosen nationality will get above God's chosen people very high, and God's chosen people will come down what?
Low.
Very low. So when you go to the poorest areas in any city in the UK, what race is predominantly there?
Anyone of colour.
You get me? Is that just the case in the UK?
I don't think so.
That's a worldwide scale, isn't it? So on a worldwide scale, we are low beneath all these other nationalities. We don't own these car brands. We don't own these big multinational businesses and corporations. We work for every other nationality has wealth. They've established themselves in this world, and they've highly become greater than us in this world. And we've come down very low. We got to think, why is this the situation? We're the most talented and blessed people. People naturally try and copy the way that we move, conduct ourselves, and we have a lot of ideas that we contribute to society. However, we never get paid for it. Other people are handling our knowledge, our wealth, and they're profiting off us. So we got to think, God, why is it that you gave us so many blessings, but you don't allow us to prosper with them? And the reason is this, yeah? The curse says in verse 29, and thou shalt grope at noonday as the blind gropeth in darkness. So the curse that God put on his chosen people is like a blind man is in the dark and they can't find the way, so they're groping like this. God said the Israelites will be a people that even in the noonday is midday when the sun is at the brightest point, you can see where you're going. God's people are so lost that even when the light's out, they don't know where they're going. Now, which race in this earth would you say is the most lost people, lack direction, lack identity? That's why we have so much conflict. We even kill each other because we don't respect each other. Asians, they have a strong sense of identity. So when they look at each other, they see brother and sister. They're not going to do certain things to each other. Same with white people, same with Jewish, etc. These people, because they've got a sense of identity, they respect one another as family. But we don't know who we are, so we don't identify with one another.
Hang on, Jim, friend.
So you know what I'm saying, sister? So there's a lot of problems that have come on us for breaking God's commandments. And we're fulfilling this curse. So check this out right quick. It says here, thou shalt not prosper, and thou shalt not prosper in thy ways, and thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled evermore, and no man shall save thee. So God says his chosen people will only be oppressed. So we are known as an oppressed people. It's a sad reality. Nobody wants to live that way. But we got to think, this is a current condition we face, and has God got an answer for it? Why has God allowed us to be in such a difficult circumstance everywhere we go? And the reality is, God's punishing us like disobedient children, and until the child gets the message that, wait, I'm being slapped up for not doing what I was told, until they understand and they change their ways, they're going to continue to be punished. So until we start to understand, wait, we're being punished by God, and we fix up and do what? Let's see, here's the answer now, yeah? So let me just ask you, my bad, let me just ask you this quick question, sister. Has it been quite clear from what I've read that God is punishing us for not doing something? Yeah? So, nobody likes to be punished, right? So, when we're being punished, what are we looking for a lot of the time? When we're being punished, we're looking for a way out of the punishment, right? You get me? So, if our people are punished, we should be trying to do what needs to be done so we're not punished no more, right? So I'm going to show you what we need to do to no longer have these punishments, because the same way God said...
Is it as simple as the 10 Commandments?
Well, there's more than 10 Commandments, but that is the foundation of it. So check it, sis, because we're God's chosen people. Really, he had blessings for us. I read all this negative stuff because that's the reality of what we're facing right now. But I want to show you what is our true destiny, because God's got a purpose for his chosen, how we're really supposed to be living on this earth, right? And this is what's going to change it all, yeah? So this is the book of Deuteronomy chapter 30 and verse 1. And it says, and it shall come to pass, when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations whither the Lord thy God hath driven thee. The Bible says when these things have happened to you, yeah, the blessing and the curse, and you remember in these different countries that you're in now, yeah, so now we're remembering, wait, God's actually punishing us. You know what I'm saying? Here's what happens next. Verse 2 says, and shall return unto the Lord thy God. So what do we have to do now, sister? So we've gone astray. We started following whatever the TV said. TV said, go out, get drunk, go hook up with people, don't have to get married, you're getting tied down, do whatever you want. We were doing everything that everyone else was doing, but we weren't doing what God chose us to do. So now we've got to return to God and turn away from all the things we've been doing on our own, you know what I'm saying? Because it's not really been helping us. There's been generations of our people just living however they want, and we're still in the same low condition. So if we want to have a different result, we've got to do a different method now, yeah? Check it out.